The man was so fed up that he literally stuck his butt out and shoved it right in his boss's face. Not once, but twice. But the boss didn't even react. Turns out the man had pressed a button on a remote, and time had completely stopped. When time resumed, the boss frowned, tasting something weird in his mouth. It was sour and nasty. But the man still wasn't satisfied. He hit pause again and slapped his boss twice across the face. One day, worn down by life, the man went to the mall. All he wanted was to lie down on a bed and rest. But then he noticed a strange little shop right next door, an everything store. Curious, he walked in. Behind the counter sat a weird old man. After listening to the man's complaints, the old guy handed him a universal remote. But he made one thing clear: once bought, no returns. The man took the remote home, ready to keep working overtime. But his dog started barking like crazy, driving him nuts. So he pointed the remote at the dog and pressed a button. The dog instantly went quiet. Soon he realized how powerful this thing really was. Walking the dog too much hassle? Just fast forward to when it's done with its business. Wife nagging too much? Hit mute. Parents visiting for dinner? Skip right past it. Even the intimate moments with his wife he fast-forwarded, just so he could spend more time working. After all, his boss had promised him, land this big project and he'd get promoted. To earn that promotion, he fast-forwarded through every little chore in life and buried himself in work. Finally, he handed in the proposal. But the client wasn't happy. Panicked, he quickly translated the client's Japanese into English, turned up the volume, and finally understood what the client wanted. When the client came back, he scrapped the old plan and redid it. This time, it worked perfectly, and the deal was sealed. The man was thrilled. He spent his bonus buying gifts for his kids, and even got his wife that designer bag she had always dreamed of. But the very next day, the boss went back on his word. He said, "Do the next project first, then you'll get your promotion." Furious, the man froze time again and smacked his boss across the face several times. After venting, he suddenly had an idea. Why not just fast forward straight to promotion day? So he pressed the button and froze in shock. His greedy boss had delayed it by an entire year. During that whole year, the remote switched to autopilot mode. It automatically skipped through all the repetitive stuff in his life. Arguments with his wife, family dinners, even intimacy, all of it got fast-forwarded. His wife thought their marriage was falling apart and started fighting with him. He tried to explain, but the scenes around him just kept jumping forward faster and faster. He couldn't stop it. Panicking, the man called the old shopkeeper. The old man told him the remote had a memory. It learned from his habits and would automatically skip the parts of life he didn't like. The man was stunned. He shoved the remote back into the old man's hands, begging for a return. But when he turned around, the remote was back in his hand again. No matter what he did, throwing it out, smashing it, dumping it in the trash, it always came back, good as new. The old man just shrugged and reminded him, "Told you already, no returns." Time flew by, and now half of the man's life was gone. He regretted everything. He didn't want to fast forward anymore. The next day at work, his boss smiled slyly and said, "When I retire, the director will take over my spot and then you'll take over his." Hearing yet another empty promise, the man's face turned green.